Hey guys, today we're gonna be watching more casual Geographic. Let's go.
You've probably heard me say that I'd rather eat 10 pounds of Popeye's biscuits with no drink than ever go out into the ocean. Well,
No, I haven't heard that.
I'd rather
But
ride
okay.
cross-country on a bike with a hot grill for a seat than spend half a second in the deep sea. There's a lot of living nightmares and paralysis demons come to life if you sink deep
What the
enough.
fuck is that?
And the Megalodon is not one of them. You'll often
What
hear me
is
say about how
that?
the prehistoric apex predator never got discontinued, it's just chilling a step above hell in the abyss. This is cap
Wait,
for actually three good reasons. One, there just isn't enough
Okay.
food to sustain a 60-foot you to the natural order. Two, if nature
Okay,
did
fair.
keep the same jumbo jaws that peaked in the Pliocene, we at least would have seen a body by now. And number three,
True.
why do y'all want this to be alive so bad? I promise you there's way worse things down there.
I don't understand that. I don't understand, yeah. I hear all the time about the Megalodon, and like some people just wish it was real and want it to be real. Why? Why do you want Jaws to be real? Why? What on earth? What good would that do? Why? Could someone explain why these people want this to be true,
Like,
please?
I would evacuate my bowels if I ever saw a giga great white shark. But put me in front of a
Yeah.
T-posing squid and I'm shitting more bricks than the entire city of Newark.
I'm
The
just
big
I'm just
fin squid
game
is
ending
easily
right
one of
there.
the most disturbing things alive as I'm saying this.
So
It's a
fucking
T-posing
weird.
predator with arms estimated to max out at just under 30 feet. Scientists believe the big fin catches
Bro.
bodies by dragging those arms, which can be easily 20 times its own body length, along the ocean floor like trawling nets. and
Yeah,
feeding
I
on
remember
whatever
from
poor
last
soul accidentally
last
bumps into them.
video.
You're gonna hear me say believe or we think a lot, and that's because we don't know a
Because
whole
we
lot
don't know
about them.
shit.
Almost
We
every
don't
sighting
know
and virtually
shit.
every specimen studied were either juveniles or paralarvae. We have no way of knowing
That I
exactly
can't
what their final form
understand.
could look like. For all we know,
It's
this
not
could be
that.
junior, and we just haven't seen Mama Big Fin yet. Who would have thought that just putting elbows on a
Bruh.
squid would instantly turn
Wait.
it into the spawn?
Wait, I remember from one of the other videos, aren't squid meant to be like orphans so they don't, well, their moms aren't alive? So I know they're different, but maybe that would be the case with this particular squid, even though it's not a squid. It's not a squid, it's a fucking alien. I refuse to believe this is a real terrestrial creature, it's a fucking
Farm
alien.
Satan. Oh, and if you thought the big fin was just this slow, passive floating predator, then you're seriously underestimating the ocean's ability
Oh my
to massacre
God.
your mental health. And if you're curious,
Bro.
this video was taken about 7,000 feet down in the Gulf of Mexico. But considering they're believed to be the deepest living
Holy
squids at about
shit.
20,000 feet, I have a theory. This is a juvenile, and the big boys are the ones shacking it up down in the crotch of the ocean. But good news, the
crotch of
big
the
fin probably
ocean?
only feeds on small fish and crustaceans. Bad news, there are squids big enough to beef with the biggest predators on the planet. And the biggest
Oh, yeah, like
predator
whales,
on the planet
right?
that isn't a disgraced former YouTuber is the sperm whale, which on its own would have to be one of the most
Romantic
traumatizing
comparison.
things to witness during their 2-hour hunting expeditions down in the deep sea.
Oh,
well,
God.
the tankiest carnivore on Earth regularly runs fades with the giant squid. And by giant, we're talking about calamari
Yeah.
growing to an estimated 40 feet long. Not only are they themselves predators that hunt using
Bro.
20-foot tentacles, they're opportunistic cannibals that would 100% murk their entire family reunion for some calories. Now,
I'm sorry, but these things, like you talk about like the scariest fucking thing in the sea, squid have gotta be up there as like one of the scariest, like for real, on God. Like for real. I'm not alone there, right? Squid are just fucking horrifying to look at.
nature high-key screwed up their character design. They have a donut-shaped brain and an esophagus running through it, meaning if they swallow something big enough, not only do they run the risk of choking to a flatline, they can also factory reset their entire personality through severe brain damage. Which is why they mitigate this by
way.
shredding their victims with a razor-sharp
No
beak and what is essentially
way.
a tongue with teeth, the radula. That beak is such a weapon that you'll rarely see a sperm whale that hasn't been tattooed during a struggle with a giant squid. And while the plus-size
my
cephalopod
God.
usually loses in a war with a whale, they do not make it easy. But the most disturbing thing about them
A fucking
is
bear.
that eye. Giant squids have the most physically imposing eye in nature, with it being roughly the size of a soccer ball. Contrary to popular belief, huge eyes don't
Bruh.
exactly help it see further, but it does mean they're terrifyingly good at noticing objects giving off their own light, which is a lifesaver since when their biggest optosperm whale is on the hunt, modern-day Leviathan disturbs glowing creatures like jellyfish and crustaceans who flash in response. Having as big as our heads means the giant squid can detect and use those flashes to avoid becoming a corpse. But that also means that
Wait,
if you
also
ever
a
go swimming in
wait. Also a vampire squid? What the fuck is a vampire squid?
Giga Squid's area code, the flashes you'd create mean that while you might not see it, the same animal that does its own kind dirty would know exactly where you are. And honestly, there's only one thing that could be worse than getting stalked by a school bus-sized headfoot. There's another squid with hunting tactics so spiritually upsetting,
I'm sorry for not saying a lot, chat. I'm just perplexed by this shit. I'm just soaking it all in. This is bro.
I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and use a lifeline.
The Humboldt squid, also known as the red devil. I'm Lindsay, by the way. Hi. Humboldt squid
I was
are
gonna
found
say,
in
who are
the
you?
eastern Pacific Ocean, typically between 600 to 2,300 feet below the surface of the ocean. And their nickname comes from the way they use their pigment cells called chromatophores to communicate. You're probably familiar with chromatophores through videos of different cephalopods using them to change color, blending into their surroundings, and even dreaming.
Okay. Maybe I am.
Use them to turn bright red when they're aggravated, hence the nickname Red Devil. It's very on brand. They're also extremely predatory and have been known to act
so
aggressively.
Is this a permanently pissed off squid, considering it's called the Red Devil, therefore he's always angry? Would I be right in assuming that's why?
Towards scuba divers on rare occasion, which becomes a bit more terrifying when I tell you that they can get to 8 feet long and 100 pounds. Now you might be thinking, Lindsay, that is not that big. What about the giant squid and the colossal squid?
No, compared to squid, or it's a squid that's fucking huge.
I haven't told you the best part yet. The Humboldt squid is known to live and hunt in groups of up to 10, no, up to 100, no, 1,000, yes, in groups of over 1,000.
No, just no, she's bullshitting. That can't. No. I refuse to believe that. Of 1,000. There ain't no fucking way there's 1,000 of those fuckers that are hunting at one time.
1,000 squid. That's about 990 too many if you ask me. While hunting in these groups, they use their chromatophores to communicate with each other, coordinating movements and attacks, allowing them to take down larger prey, dragging them into the depths until they go unconscious. Scientists have identified some of these communication patterns, as you can see in this little chart, but still don't know exactly what any of them mean. But regardless, that sounds like one of the worst ways to be unalived in the ocean. Oh wait, this isn't a TikTok collaboration. That sounds like one of the worst ways to die in the ocean.
So as you can see, whether it's being confronted by a Humboldt block party or squaring up
my
with
god, look how many of them.
there are many aspects of the deep sea that end up with you putting your therapist up a tax bracket. And a lot of that's because of this cute little thing known as deep sea gigantism. The idea that the cold temperature...
Cute little thing called deep sea gigantism. Okay, this is fake. This image is 100% fake. That is fake. That's not a real image. I'm sorry, that's not real. This is fake.
And the lack of pressure from predators allows some animals to escalate to the biggest and most terrifying versions of themselves.
Not this one, this is fake. I knew it, see?
Spider crab, which can measure 12
feet across
and weigh as much as a human toddler. Only thing worse than a giant spider crab is a giant crab spider. This is an Antarctic sea spider, a dinner plate-sized demon.
I thought we'd be done with Australia. I thought we'd done with Australia and fucking spooters. They just keep coming back. They're in the fucking water now too. Fuck me, bro.
Spawn that hunts by sucking the life out of its prey through its proboscis.
Oh my god.
They're not actual spiders. But also I imagine most people watching technically don't give a especially since this one looks like it identifies as a fuck. Then there's a giant isopod, which is essentially an aquatic cockroach big enough to be cradled like a baby. No clue why you would though. And if you're looking for a truly super-sized animal crossing...
wasn't there a big craze a little while ago, like for a cute version of a cephalopod or whatever it's called, the little cockroach thing? I remember seeing cute drawings of it. I was like, bro, why? It's a fucking monster.
The oarfish should be on your list. The giant oarfish can grow well over 30 feet long, and there have even been claims of those in the neighborhood of 50 feet. Proof that back in the day when we had stories about sea monsters, they weren't lying, they just didn't have all the names yet. Also, if you caught that pun earlier, we're friends now. But with deep sea gigantism and the endless expanse of ocean acting as a canvas for Shaitan to practice his art, if you dive deep enough, there be monsters. For example, this isn't an animal. It's a group of animals joined together in something like a hive mind. So we're not talking about colony? We're talking about...
Wait. Is that the Let Go? Is that the Let Go? Halo nerds in the comments, you'll fucking appreciate this. Yeah, this looks like... This could be the start of the Hunters. For those that don't know, in Halo, the big hunter guys, the ones with the big cannon and the shield, they're not an alien. They're like a hive of one alien species, like a big colony of eels that conform together like this and act as an independent, I guess living person, almost, kinda, sorta. It's I want to do some Halo videos, so I'll get into it there. But for this video, that's all you need to know.
Them. And sophonophores like this come in many forms, like the Portuguese man of war armed with venom to ensure that the excruciating experience of meeting one is permanently etched into your brain. And there's a a giant sophonophore that can flex a total length of up to 160 feet. And even though it's a collective group of tiny animals, its length could humble a blue whale, making it technically the longest creature on the planet. Or at best, a modest second, since the bootlace ribbon worm has been reported to reach 180 feet in length.
That was disgusting.
And it's toxic because the ocean, and of course it is, with nasty smelling mucus.
I was literally gonna say because of course it is. Bro, me too.
Life-deprived the crabs it likes to eat. Like I said, whether it's Lucifer's tapeworm or a flying spaghetti creature, there be monsters. And it gets so much worse than a giant worm, because as terrifying as the deep sea is, it's also nasty, and there might not be anything more repulsive than the hagfish. This loogie linguini feeds on the rotting corpses and carcasses that sink down into its domain. And since they don't have any actual teeth, the graveyard guppy feeds by sliding into an opening and eating the decomposing body from the inside out. And you would think that something that eats like a casket wouldn't have to worry about getting put on a plate itself. Again, you're giving the ocean too much credit. As self-defense, the hagfish will sweat buckets of slime, a phlegm jacket that's thick enough to clog the gills of anything hungry enough to F around and unlucky enough to find out. To the point where this is the end game of a truck transporting hagfish on the highway crashing. You've definitely seen this picture before, but have you ever stopped and asked yourself what they were doing there?
I'm sorry, I just need to take this image in. What the ever-loving fuck? These guys are covered in this shit.
There in the first place. You remember how I said nothing that eats like a hagfish should ever have to worry about getting eaten? Well, simple. For these hagfish, their final destination were dinner plates in Asian countries such as South Korea, where they're considered a delicacy. Now, I'm not one to judge other cultures, but we seem to have a habit of constantly trying to eat all the things nature went out of its way to tell us not to. The one thing you won't see as a main course is something ironically named after a fruit. The sea cucumber is like the hagfish in that its meal prep consists of all the things we normally flush, burn, or bury. All the soul evacuation.
I thought sea cucumbers weren't allowed. I thought they were like vegetation.
Bodies that sink down to the ocean floor instantly get put on the cucumber's grocery list. It's a literal bottom feeder, and I mean that since they'll also make a meal out of feces. But like with vultures, if Thanos had beef with sea cucumbers, the world would become an infinitely more disgusting place. That's not the only way sea cucumbers contribute to society. They're also often used as a protective bunker for fish, and well, let's just say they break in through the back door. Oh yeah, it's a violation of the highest natural order. It gets worse when a pearlfish decides to have a playdate right next to its prostate. I don't even know if they have a prostate, but you get what I mean. And if that makes you uncomfortable, here's an ad to give you time to mentally prepare for what's next. This adorable little guy is known as a basket star. It's a type of brittle star and an echinoderm, which actually makes it a close cousin of the sea cucumber. If you ever learned about
you cannot tell me it's not alien. That like the fucking squid thing. This is an alien. This isn't terrestrial. This isn't real, chat. This is from fucking space.
In geometry, then that's why the repeating pattern of branching arms.
Oh god, that's horrific.
It's also why the U.S. is really wasting $20 billion a year looking into space, because the real ET is happening right here. Because of the unsightly way basket stars get from A to B, they've also earned the nickname sea snakes. I feel itchy all of a sudden. However, even though it looks like something Lucifer would use to pleasure himself, they eat mostly zooplankton and are pretty much harmless.
This looks like something from It. It looks like something from a fucking horror film.
And honestly, that pretty much describes 80% of the nonsense in the deep sea, only really harmful to your peace of mind. Like take the frilled shark. Having been around for 80-something million years, not only is the frilled shark a living fossil, it's likely nature's rough draft beta version of sharks today. Also, don't let this video fool you. They can grow to a respectable 6 feet long. Also, they can be pregnant for 3.5 years, which honestly makes about as much sense as everything else down there. And in terms of your mental health, the frilled shark is pretty harmless. Until you look them in the mouth. The devil's fleshlight has hundreds of needle-like teeth to ensure that anything that gets caught in there doesn't get a second chance to pursue happiness. And for a shark that's been around long enough to have attended Saturn's wedding, I don't know why, but every picture of them looks like they're struggling with their own existence. Like I said though, they're not afraid to humans. But like I also said, therapy ain't cheap, so if you don't want to end up on a couch, don't look a frilled shark in the mouth. But yeah, you'd be surprised at just how many types of sharks you'll find in the same neighborhood SpongeBob.
I hate this. I fucking hate this. I hate this video so much. The deep sea is just...
got stranded in that one time. You have 20-foot sleeper sharks that are somehow able to use stealth to just spawn and inhale sustenance like a water Kirby. Speaking of sleepers, in 2015, a Pacific sleeper was recorded in the Solomon's Island. Why is that important? Well, its home address was right under an active volcano, proving that if any animal had plot armor, it'd be sharks. Then you have the ghost shark, which, okay, yep, you got me, isn't an actual shark. It's a close cousin known as a chimera. The ghost part, though, that's on brand. They kind of remind me of the dry bones fish from Mario. The ghost not a shark doesn't even have the teeth you'd expect it to have, but instead they have plates that they use to grind up food. But since nature's constantly overcompensating, chimeras do have venomous spines that are harmful to more than just your mental well-being.
Of fucking course they do.
The weirdest thing about them, chimeras have a tenaculum on their forehead. A tenaculum is a reproductive organ, meaning this fish has a... Yeah, on his forehead. Venom and that.
So he's a dickhead?
This fish fresh out of...
So this fish is officially and legitimately a dickhead. Okay, no, it's
actually pretty cool looking. And I'm just gonna
Tim
say,
Burton's wet dream, though.
I'm perfectly fine with standing on that hill alone. However,
you, sir, are... What a freeze frame. What a fucking... Look at this fucking dopey-ass looking motherfucker. He looks so dopey. No, he doesn't look cute. He looks like a dope. He looks like a big fucking dope. Also, this guy's on this hill alone. They're not cute. You're a weird one. You're a weird one.
I don't think you'll find a single soul on this next shark's hill.
Feast your eyes on the goblin shark, a demon dog-looking fish with a mouth that snaps like nobody's business. They're really seen. They're known to live in oceans all around the world, at depths of up to 4200 feet below the surface of the ocean, and are estimated to get to
AI,
15
right?
feet long, which is really big for a deep-sea shark. You might
No, she's talking about it's a real thing. It might be real.
Fully ejecting from their brain case in a process called slingshot feeding. It's kind of what they're known for. Their upper and lower...
Okay, I need a minute. I need a minute. When I think nature's like got as horrifying as possible, it throws something else at me. It's like, nah, fucker, we ain't done yet. We ain't done being fucked up yet. The fuck.
Or jaws lunge forward away from the skull, engulfing their prey. I know it probably seems ridiculous and almost alien, but it's actually not uncommon. Most fishes have jaws that aren't entirely attached. One might argue that the goblin shark is the most extreme example of this look, until you see a video of the sling jaw wrasse, who use suction feeding to snatch up their prey. They look like they have a trombone stuck in their mouth. Goblin sharks have a particularly long snout.
That's horrifying.
They have sensory structures, pores all over it that help them locate their prey, like squid, fish, and crustaceans. And I am personally grateful I am not a squid, fish, or crustacean.
Yeah, goblins are right for the only shark in the world with a receding gum line. But you gotta admit, eating your own jaw to catch calories is pretty metal. And you're gonna find that a lot of the creatures rolling in a deep
it's fucking horrifying.
Groceries. Probably the most popular is the fish that nearly turned Nemo into an orphan. The anglerfish has two defining personality traits, and one of them is that fish is fucking ugly right in front of those life-canceling jaws. That light actually comes from bioluminescent bacteria shacking up inside a modified fin. So when a bite-sized light work swims up to the light thing and just cops some easy protein, the angler ensures that some fish out there never sees its father again. The other thing anglerfish got clout for is their mating habits. I'm not gonna get into it, just know that if your marriage looks anything like theirs, you're gonna need both a divorce and a restraining order. And you know what? Intensive therapy on top of that, extra freaking viciously. Nemo's paralysis demon isn't the only deep-sea creature to weaponize light. This distinguished gentleman is known as a stoplight loosejaw, and his defining trait is that it uses a red light to hunt, which turns out to be a massive cheat code since the long...
Wait, like red light is in like night vision? You know, like when like soldiers have to use like a red light because it doesn't fuck with their night vision at nighttime instead of like a normal white light? I'm thinking too... Okay, no, I realize, as I'm saying that, I realize how much of a dumb fucking question that is. Ignore me.
The wavelength of a color, the less energy that wavelength has, and the faster it gets absorbed by the water. And since the color red has the longest wavelength out of all of them, it's the first one to get absorbed. This is why red light can't reach the deep sea, and the animals living in the abyss that are red actually appear black, which makes it easier for them to hide from predatory smoke. But with a stoplight using red as a searchlight, it's pretty much cracked at this version of hide and seek. Not to mention, since most of the light down there can't even see red.
I'm so fucking happy I got that right. I'm so fucking happy I got that right. Let's go.
Bodies while also not giving up its location to predators or the prey.
That's so cool.
This fish really evolved a whole wall hack and a real-life invisibility. Tell me that's crazy. And that freakish overbite ensures that once prey is found, it's lost forever. But why hunt prey when you can just sit and wait for it to come to you? That's the entire playbook for the deep sea lizardfish. Just look at that smile. You know he's on nefarious timing. And at over 2 feet long, they earned the title of being one of the premier apex predators of the deep sea. As a habitual camper, they lie waiting for life to pass them by before they lunge and use hypodermic needles for teeth to cancel it. And with apex standing for anyone providing smoke gets extinguished, lizardfish don't hesitate to turn their own.
Girl has got fucking them bimbo ass lips there. What is this? What is this fucking holy shit?
Kind into coffin fodder. And with the whole point of those teeth being to hold struggling, panicking prey in place, they make sure they don't live long enough to learn from their mistake. But as much of a therapy bill as Gecko Guppy's mugshot might be, it might not even be the worst headshot in the ocean.
I'm sorry, but this image is gonna haunt my fucking dreams tonight. That is like nightmare fuel right there.
Not as long as this is still a fact.
Oh, okay. No, I stand corrected. I stand fucking corrected. No, this is worse. This is so much worse. This is so much worse. Holy shit, what is it? It was like something Tim Burton would fucking make. That fucked up guy, holy shit. This, oh god, okay, we're going.
I don't know anyone who would waste the oxygen trying to defend this.
I would. Many say this is a face only a mother could love. Well, then maybe he is my son. This is the deep sea telescope fish, one of the most stunning creatures of the deep tropical ocean.
Deep sea telescope
about 1,600 to 6,600 feet below the surface of the ocean. I can't say that normally. Surface of the ocean. And like you'll see if you look up photos of them online, they are often photographed at unfortunate angles that don't do them any justice. They orient themselves upwards, hanging out vertically in the water column, as they use their specially adapted eyes to hunt for the silhouettes.
Their special eyes.
There are 2 species of telescope fish.
They use their special eyes.
And Gigantism chuni. Don't be fooled by their genus name, which makes them sound like they're gigantic. That is not the case at all. Indica only gets to about 8 inches long, and chuni a measly 6.
Oh, so they're tiny.
Little guys. Gigantera actually
the little beans.
Tail specifically. They are about half tail. But if they happen to latch onto a snack that's a bit bigger than their own size, that's no problem at all. They underwent a series of skeletal reductions that allow for more room to just fold it in half. That's right. They are expert folders. In 1925, scientists found a 5.5-inch long viperfish inside the stomach of a 3-inch long telescope fish. They described it as neatly folded, an incredible quality possessed by the level.
What the fuck? What on earth? Okay, this might just be one of those evolutionary fucking dead ends we found out about last video. Okay, I was gonna ask what purpose does that serve, but then I realized evolution is fucking stupid sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't serve a fucking good purpose.
Telescope fish.
Yeah, I'm sure if we gave it Blistex and a hairline restoration surgery, he'd be cute, but that's just me. That being said, there's a lot of pretty dope things just chilling in the deep. Take the barreled-eyed fish.
Really?
The fish with a transparent head that means it can spot
I've seen
prey
this.
directly above it, thanks to those 2 green gummy-looking orbs that are actually its eyes. Or the ultra-rare
this thing is
giant
fucking
phantom
cool.
jellyfish, equipped with 30-foot arms that makes this ET understudy.
Okay, I don't like jellyfish, but I do have to admit, this color, this is sick. This is so cool.
The length of a whale shark. And when I say rare, I mean this jelly's only been seen like 100 times in the history of mankind, so the fact that you're watching this right now is kind of wild. Then you have the deep sea Dumbo octopus that copes with stress by turning itself into a ball to discourage predators from eating it. And if this right here looks familiar, yeah,
holy
right
shit.
to his thighs. The vampire squid does the inverse, as they'll turn themselves inside out and into their own personal panic room whenever they're pressed by a possible predator. And how about a sea pig for you? Take everything I said about sea cucumbers and forget it for a second, because honestly, they're just really cute in a way I can't fully explain. But it's not hard to say what makes this squid instant serotonin. Rosea pacifica, or the stubby squid, is actually more...
Look at him! Look at the little guy! Look at him!
Like a cuttlefish. It's also a cuddly fish, and it's nature's apology letter for the sheer trauma it saturated the ocean with. It's actually real, and those arts and crafts looking eyes help it catch prey on a nocturnal schedule. It's also important as an environmental indicator, since scientists will often study their responses to changes in water pH and use that to determine how polluted the water is around them, which you would think would earn this anime octopus the respect of the scientific community. Well, you'd be wrong. There's a video where some scientists found one, and let me just say, not even Hiroshima got roasted that hard. But that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you go ahead and drink water, hug your moms, go subscribe to Lindsay's channel, link will be in the description. Shout out to Lindsay for being in this video, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
Bye.
Looks fake, like Davy Jones.
They look like googly eyes.
Did you look like googly eyes?
So fake.
So someone that I
Okay, the more I look at it, the more funny this thing gets.
Just came before and just left it here.
It's like some little kid dropped their toy.
Trash.
Oh man.
Awesome,
He is awesome.
What the fuck?
Great focus, Justin.
It's freaking me out.
Well, like the fan said, don't hug your moms.